let's talk about this all-important issue, and I'm glad that, Iman is starting off this conversation because it actually somehow affects all of us. Never mind that it's basically just a hormonal disorder that affects women. It affects all of us, one for all for one. We have joining us, as you can see, Ummeeta, Rabiu, a women's health advocate, community builder, CEO of Blue Group of Companies, and interior designer, YouTuber, a lot of things, really, but she's also an advocate for PCOS. Joins us live from Abuja. Good morning, Ummeeta. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Just to lay the foundation, PCOS for a lot of people is or might be alien because they're wondering, what is PCOS? What does this mean? I really don't get it. So maybe walk us through that and tell us why this is a big deal for you. I know the conversation trended online a few days ago, and a lot of people were even confused, right? Even some medical practitioners have been approaching this wrong, right? So tell us what this is about and why this is dear to your heart.
Okay. PCOS generally means polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's, you don't get it, you're born with it. Most people try to say that you get it later on in life, but no, it's something that you come with to the world. It's misdiagnosed, and a lot of people know nothing about it. It's not a deadly sentence, it's not a death sentence. It's something that you can actually manage, and then you get to live a better life. Some side effects of PCOS could be infertility, and it's very personal to me because I have PCOS. I have been misdiagnosed in the past, and I went through a lot of issues with that. But then when I got to understand what PCOS is and how to manage it, life got easier. So why I do this is to make women understand that PCOS is actually very easy to manage if you know what to do. It's good for you to understand.
And that's great to hear. As I said earlier on, there was a lot of miscommunication, confusion, misdiagnosis, as you said. So we're hoping that this can help to set the tone for better handling of it. And you've come out to speak to this. Not a lot of people will want to admit for obvious reasons. So in terms of, I wouldn't call it prognosis now, but in terms of how you've had to structure your life to handle this, beyond even helping others, how has this battle, what has it done to you? How have you been able to get a handle on this battle?
Okay, so I will take you back to how my journey started with PCOS. When I was younger, about 11, 12, I had constant cramps. I didn't know what it was. My parents were confused. A lot happened. I went to so many different hospitals in Lagos, in Abuja, in Kano, but most of them just gave me different diagnoses. One was even telling me that I had kidney problems, so I need to get a kidney transplant. And then we had to get a second opinion. Someone said appendicitis. Someone said a lot of different things. It was when I went to a hospital in Lagos, an old doctor told us that, okay, it's PCOS, and he doesn't know how to manage it, but he just knows that it's a main cause for infertility. And he said that he's sorry, I'm never going. I was depressed at that time. I was 12. Imagine an older person telling you that you're not going to have kids ever in your life. So we went to other hospitals. It took us to Egypt. It took us to Dubai. And then finally we settled in Kano. And the doctor told me that it's PCOS and it's something that we can actually try and manage. It's not a death sentence. It's not an infertility sentence. Yes, if not taken care of, it can cause infertility. And for you to have kids, you have to go through a lengthy process with your diet, medications, and all that. So once I got to find out that, okay, I can actually have kids, we decided to try a medication routine. So they started with contraceptives. At a young age, taking contraceptives was a lot for me. I didn't understand what it was about, so I tried to do more research. As I was researching, I found out that your diet could help with PCOS. It's an androgynous, I wouldn't say sickness, I would say complication, because once you get to untangle it, you're good to go. So, yeah, I think it's very easy to understand once you keep your mind to it and you keep checking what needs to be done. Most people just think it's, you have to go to the hospital to get medications for PCOS. You have to get injections. You have to go through a lot of regimens for you to get through PCOS. But honestly, with proper dieting, staying active, and just taking care of your health on your own without the help of medication, without the help of doctors and all that, you can do that. So I know all this because I've been working hand in hand with Dr. Ono from Dida Hospital. He's a fertility specialist, and he does everything for women in terms of fertility.
All right, so
that's all.
It's quite interesting. They say the best way to tell a story is to follow a character, and you've embodied this, and you've embraced it, and you're managing it effectively. So we'll just stay with you on how to navigate this part. So my first question will be, at what age, since it sounds, if I get you correctly from your submission, it sounds like it's congenital, at what age should women begin to, check out to be sure that they have or they don't have this thing?
Okay, from my perspective, honestly, I think as early as possible. I don't want to... Okay, I'll just tell you a personal story. So when I was diagnosed at 12 years old. And that is very early. I have a community of over 5,000 women that go through PCOS, and most of them are just finding out in their 30s, in their 40s. And it's almost at menopause that most women know that they have PCOS. So I would say you need to get checked out early on. The minute your daughter starts seeing her period, I think it's a good time to get her checked out. It's a hereditary problem, kind of, because in my family, a lot of women have PCOS. If to say we don't want to get checked out, nobody would know. And then a lot of people would be having issues and you wouldn't know where it comes from. So I think as early as 10, 12, 14, the minute your daughter starts seeing her period, get her checked out.
We cannot also, it would be remiss of us in this conversation not to commend you, for being a champion for awareness on PCOS and for the community really that you're building. And the reason is simple, because of the mental stress and in fact sometimes trauma that this brings to women who are so diagnosed. And yours is not the only story that I have heard about it being associated with infertility. Now for some of those women, they go ahead to have children, but sometimes it takes a lot of time before they eventually have children. Perhaps it's because of the lack of awareness. Talk to us about the role that the men in their lives can play in supporting these women through this journey up until they come out of it victoriously on the other side.
All right. So PCOS, in the beginning, I did some research a few months ago, and it is associated with trauma. Trauma causes PCOS. So I believe if there's a man in your life, they need to support you. They need to love you. It's an emotional thing. The more emotionally stable you are, the more your symptoms do not happen. It has a lot of mood swings. So they need to be understanding with your mood swings. It's not a burden. The way I'm saying it, men would feel like, oh, this is a burden. No, it's not. You just need to be there for your wife and your partner, just to support them. And I think if the men would help in making the women get their lives in shape, working out, maybe taking walks. You don't have to go to the gym. You could just walk out in your own home. You just need to stay active and have a proper diet, because a proper diet really helps with PCOS. The men just need to be supportive.
For the community that you're building, from the numbers that you have, how many go on to eventually have children, and what's the journey like?
Honestly, a lot of them. Even yesterday, someone reached out to me and she had an IVF done. She reached out to me that the baby was born, a healthy baby boy, and it was really, really amazing for me, because I remember the struggles she went through trying to conceive, trying to find the right doctor, trying to just get someone to talk her through PCOS. The first time she reached out to me, she said to me that she is devastated. She doesn't know what to do. She's been diagnosed with PCOS and she doesn't know how to take it from there. I was like, I'm so sorry to hear that, but it's not a death sentence. It's not an infertility sentence once you do the right things. So I walked her through the doctor that I see. I connected them. She went to see him. He helped her. They went through a regimen for her. And then eventually they figured out IVF is the best way out for her. So they did that for her, and now she has a baby. which is really exciting. And there's a lot more women that have kids through that community. We talk about our problems on that community a lot. Maybe one person would have maybe hirsutism, and we talk about how to get rid of the hairs. Maybe someone is just not seeing her period. We talk about it, and then maybe we talk about supplements, dieting, and all that. Maybe the main problem is not having children, so we talk about how to go through it. Maybe you get to have an IUI to see what is wrong with your tubes and all that. Maybe you get to have an ovulation induction for you to have the children, or maybe it's to go through IVF and have the kids. We all have different stories and different ways to have our children. So yeah.
And it's just important to just ask again that based on your experience, the women that you're dealing with, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many cases of infertility are defeated at the end of the day through proper management? Because it's important for women who are going through same, to be encouraged by the statistics.
Honestly, based on my personal statistics and from the channel I have where we discuss PCOS, I would say 7 out of 10 women come out victorious. There are some certain cases that there's nothing you can do for them because maybe they haven't been diagnosed early and they don't really know what it's about, so they've just been building on and on and on, and without proper management, it causes more damage. So I would say 7 out of 10.
I mean, that's excellent. I mean, when you do get 70 over 10, you most likely get excellent or very, very good, right? But maybe you tell us more about your personal story. You have 2 boys, right? And that, again, is a win. And for others, too, there are other ways to go about having children. So it's not really the end for them. And the second part of my question is this expensive to manage? Because some will say PCOS sounds like a rich man's issue, right? Or something that you need a lot of money to handle. So I've seen people suggest, natural or herbal remedies. So speak to us on those 2 levels, your own personal story, and then how expensive or otherwise it is to handle.
All right, so I will start with your second question. PCOS can be affordable and still relatively expensive, depending on the severity of the kind of PCOS you have. With infertility, honestly, I would say it's a little bit expensive because you have to go through all these treatments, you have to go through all these tests. But for people in Abuja, there's this foundation, PCOS Foundation, that helps women. It's called Geranwell. It helps women get free tests, and you get to get diagnosis. They get to check you, go through your system and tell you that this is the kind of PCOS you have, this is the kind of problem you have, and then this is the way for you to solve it. So I think in as much as we think of it as expensive, there are foundations that are willing to help us for free to get all these tests done. So on to the second question, my personal journey. Like I said earlier, I started my PCOS journey when I was 12. This was many, many years ago. So I had cramps. I didn't know where they were coming from. I would cry, I would have tantrums, I would have a lot of pain. My parents were confused. Both of them were hands-on with my sickness. So back in the day, we didn't really know what the problem was, and so many doctors had no idea what PCOS was. So I went through so many people telling me that I had kidney problems, I have appendicitis, I had this, I had that, I had this. It was a lot. And I feel like at the time, many people, not even the doctors, many people had no idea what it was. They would, in Hausa community, they would shun you out if you don't have kids. They would just be like, oh, Juyachi, basically meaning she's infertile, she's unable to have children. And that stigma would really affect women. So in my case, I wasn't really seeing my monthly periods, and my mom was concerned. She didn't know what to do. She was confused. She didn't know how to go about it. But she really wanted to understand the system, because as a 12-year-old, you've just started this cycle, and moving forward, months later, you haven't seen any of your cycles again. So we went to so many doctors, and nobody had a proper explanation for us until we met Dr. Yusuf from Greenfield in Kano, and he told us about PCOS, what it's about, this and that. And then my other doctor in Lagos, who knew about PCOS, but he didn't really understand the whole concept of it. He just said it's an infertility sentence. I was never going to have kids. So like I said earlier, my parents had to take me abroad to go get checked out. What is this about? Blah, 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 blah. And I understood that it's an endocrinological disorder. It's something that you need to balance your hormones. You need to get your body to be active, and then you need to manage your diet for you to balance your hormones. So for example, you can't just eat any processed food if you want to stay healthy. But that aside, back to my journey. So I got married at 19, and I think at that time I had a fair understanding of PCOS. So my first pregnancy was an ectopic pregnancy, which was induced by PCOS. Yes, there's so many possibilities to all these things, so many problems and issues. But yeah, I had an ectopic pregnancy which had to be flushed out. As a 19-year-old, that was really devastating for me. So I had to go on a hunt for a good doctor to understand what my system was going through. So that was when I met Dr. Onu, and he guided me through it. He told me that there are so many other ways for me to get pregnant. At this point, I just need to go through a medication routine, which we did. And then my other doctor in Kano was telling me to just try the dieting. I did both, and eventually I ended up being pregnant with my first son, who is almost 9 at this point.
Wow.
So the pregnancy went well. I had him, and then I kept trying for about 5 years to have another baby. It didn't work out. So fast forward to 3 years ago, when I was trying to have my second kid. I was going through the dieting process and all that, but I had to go through an ovulation induction because my main problem was lack of ovulation. So the ovulation induction was very easy. It's just a couple of injections that you get on your stomach, and it helps. So we did that, and I had the trigger shot, and then eventually I was pregnant. It's nothing to be scared of. It's very easy, and it's simple to go through all these things.
Ummeeta, we have to once again say thank you to you for sharing your story. I love the way you share with so much joy, with so much hope, with a big smile on your face. It's beautiful to see that you're strengthening others through your experience. We've been speaking with a women's health advocate, a community builder, a CEO of Blue Group of Companies, Ummeeta Rabiu. Thank you so much. I wish you the very best.
Thank you so much.
Wow, amazing. But we'll take a quick break now. We have one more leg of a show for you, and this will be coming from Zambia. Oh yes, stay with us.